Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Aniagolu. Now to the United States, where for just the second time in its history, New York City has elected a black mayor. Eric Adams is a retired police captain and former state senator. Following his victory, the Democrat vowed to represent all New Yorkers.
And the people of our city, they have spoken. And tonight, New York has chosen one of you, one of our own. I am you. I am you. After years of praying and hoping and struggling and working, we are headed to City Hall. All of you have that power to fuel us. We are so divided right now. And we're missing the beauty of our diversity. We have to end all of this division of who we are, where we go to worship, what do we wear. No, today we take off the intramural jersey and we put on one jersey, Team New York.
Well, Mr. Adams was helped to a landslide victory by a strong Nigerian demographic in New York, who said that his campaign to combat gun violence and improve public safety struck a chord with them. For more on this, I'm joined now by the former Democratic New York City Council candidate, George Onuorah. George, thanks very much indeed for joining us. First of all, what can you tell us about Eric Adams and what his victory means for New York City in general, and for you in particular, who supported him?
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Eric Adams is someone that rose through the ranks. You know, he came from a humble beginning. He was a dishwasher at some point. He had learning disabilities, but he overcame those, became the police captain. But one of the things that endeared me personally to him, as you said, I ran for city council in June, Democratic primary. What I knew about him, both of us share the same centrist ideology, you know, that maintains that you need public safety for a city like New York City, a city of 8.8 million people. And of course, you know that New York is, of course, the greatest city in the world, a city that houses the United Nations, and it's actually the microcosm of the world, because you find all type of nationalities here. So Eric Adams will be that uniter, you know, a leader, a bold visionary. We both share the same ideology of compassionate governance. So, and I have this inclination that come January 1st, when he assumes office, that Africans will also be part of that administration, because, like you said, we played a pivotal part in getting him elected. We did fundraising, we volunteered, we went the whole 9 yards to assist. So I'm gladdened that he will be one of the best mayor. He's going to be the 110th mayor in New York political history.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about that Nigerian demographic that you were talking about, how strong it was in swinging the vote in favor of Eric Adams. I mean, what sort of, beyond the things you mentioned, what sort of swing did they add to his landslide victory?
The swing, you know, is really, you know, for the first time, you have Africans coming together as a united force. You have the NAPAC, which is a political action group that came out with, in their numbers, galvanizing the people for support, going house to house, standing on the street. You have the Organization for Advancement of Nigerians. You have those of us in Queens, which I also spearheaded, going door to door, encouraging people to come out and vote for Eric. And we also constituted groups that help with fundraising. Of course, you know that money also plays a role in election. So that all that put together was how we were able to help him. And especially in the borough of the Bronx, we have over almost like 500,000 Africans living there. A lot of them came out to support, his project, and ultimately the outcome of him winning the election.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting what you're doing there, George, you in particular, because, I mean, you've done extremely well in mobilizing Africans and making them a strong political force in America in general and in New York in particular. And I hope you keep doing what you're doing. But returning to Eric Adams and just going further into his thinking, I understand that his keen focus on racial justice has fueled his public career up till now.
Yes, definitely. He was New York Police Department captain, and those are where his passion for safety, was born. He continued to say that public safety is a prerequisite to prosperity, and I agree with him, because in New York City, for tourism, to become bigger, you need folks to come to visit the United Nations and Empire State Buildings, World Trade Center, etc. And you cannot have that if you don't have a safe city. People sometimes feel afraid, to have their children walk the street when the crime was seen to be, on the upside. So, but, we know that as Eric has expounded, with a safe city, people should be able to go about their business uninterrupted, unencumbered, and things like that. So he's doing the right thing, and that is actually what helped him to defeat 5 strong candidates who are more or less on the progressive side. He's a centrist, and both of us share the same ideological platform. As you know, Charles, birds of identical plumage flock together to their nearest proximity. Eric and I share similar ideological views, and that is why I'm hoping that together we can help make his administration productive and to go in the right direction.
Right. And briefly, George, what sort of challenges is he likely to face as mayor? Are there the big ones, of course, crime and the pandemic. I mean, are there other equally big problems, briefly?
The problem that he probably faces is like every other administration, you will have people on the opposite side. He's a centrist, and you have the other side who are progressive, talking about defunding the police. And when you defund the police, you are taking away the resources that they need to fight crime and to maintain peace and safety in the city. So he has to, navigate that, and then also be able to maintain a balanced budget by probably trying to manage the resources of the city instead of being so extravagant in spending money. So, and those are things that he even alluded to during his victory speech a night ago.
And equally briefly, George, because we've got about 30 seconds or so, I mean, Nigerians who supported him, what are they expecting him to do for them?
Well, first of all, we haven't elected a city council member in New York City. That is the reason why I ran. So we're hoping that with his winning, that we'll have a presence in his administration. He's going to appoint commissioner, deputy mayors, directors, and I hope that Nigerian African flavor is seen in that constitution, the government that is going to set up, because we played a very key role in the election.
Okay, George, thank you very much indeed. George Onuorah is a former Democratic New York City Council candidate, and he was talking to me there.